In the unforgiving wilderness, every second counts, but it's the first 10 minutes of a crisis that can mean the difference between life and death. This is your golden hour, a small window of time where shock can be your ally, adrenaline your fuel. These initial moments are crucial for assessing your surroundings, identifying immediate threats, and making those split-second decisions that will dictate your survival. Imagine this: an earthquake strikes, the ground beneath you surges, buildings groan, and chaos erupts. Your heart pounds in your chest. It's easy to freeze, to let fear take over, but that's when you dig deep. Remember your training. The first rule of survival? Stay calm, take a deep breath. Your mind needs to be sharp. Every choice you make in these first few minutes will have a ripple effect on the next 72 hours and beyond. This isn't just about surviving the initial impact, it's about surviving what comes next. The aftershocks, the potential for further collapse, the lack of basic necessities. This is your wake-up call, a stark reminder that the world can change in an instant. Are you ready to face it? You've made it through the initial shock. Now it's time to analyze. What just happened? Was it an earthquake, a flood, a fire? The nature of the disaster will dictate your next move. Look around you. Are you trapped? Are there immediate dangers present? Falling debris, rising water, or escaping gas? Your senses are your early warning system. What do you see, hear, smell, smoke, the hiss of gas, the ominous creaking of a damaged structure? These are not just sensory details. They are vital clues. Gather as much information as you can about your surroundings. This is not the time for assumptions. This is about cold, hard facts. Remember, the situation is fluid. It can change in a heartbeat. What seems stable now might not be in the next few minutes. Stay vigilant, stay aware. Your ability to adapt and react quickly will be crucial in the hours to come. The first hour is critical. Adrenaline is still coursing through your veins, but so is the shock of what you've just experienced. This is a time for decisive action, for prioritizing your safety above all else. If you're trapped, can you free yourself safely? If not, can you signal for help? Remember the ABCs of survival: airway, breathing, circulation. Check yourself for injuries. If you're bleeding, apply pressure. If you're in pain, try to stabilize any potential fractures. But most importantly, stay calm. Panic is your enemy. It can lead to rash decisions and jeopardize your safety. This is also the time to address any immediate environmental threats. If there's a fire, find a safe way out. If there's a gas leak, don't use any open flames and try to shut off the supply if it's safe to do so. Remember, your primary goal in these first 60 minutes is simple: survival. Panic is a natural human response to danger. It's hardwired into our DNA. But in a survival situation, panic can be your undoing. It can cloud your judgment, leading to mistakes that could cost you dearly. The key is to acknowledge the fear, but not let it control you. Take deep breaths. Focus on the task at hand. Break down complex problems into smaller, more manageable ones. Remember, you've trained for this. You have the skills and the knowledge to survive. Now is the time to put them into practice. Don't be afraid to ask for help. If you're injured or unable to do something, reach out to those around you. Remember, strength comes in numbers. Working together, you can overcome even the most daunting challenges. Reaching out. Connecting with your network. In the chaotic aftermath of a disaster, communication is key. If you have a cell phone and it's working, use it to call for help and check on loved ones. If possible, designate one person to make contact with family and friends outside the affected area. This will help to streamline communication and reduce anxiety. Remember, phone lines might be down or overwhelmed. If you can't get through, don't panic. Try texting or using social media to send out a general message letting people know your status. Even a brief update can provide reassurance to those who are worried. If you're separated from your family, have a predetermined meeting place. This is crucial, especially if you live in an area prone to natural disasters. Make sure everyone in your family knows where to go and how to get there if communication is impossible. Basic needs: water, food, and shelter. With immediate dangers addressed, your focus shifts to securing your basic needs: water, food, and shelter. Water is your top priority. You can survive for weeks without food, but only days without water. If you have access to a safe water source, great. If not, start rationing any supplies you have. Next, assess your food situation. How much do you have? How long will it last? Prioritize non-perishable items and ration carefully. Remember, this is about survival, not luxury. Be prepared to eat things you might not normally consider. Finally, you need shelter. It doesn't have to be fancy, just something to protect you from the elements. If your home is unsafe, look for alternatives: a sturdy structure, a community center, or even a makeshift shelter built from debris. The key is to stay dry, warm, and out of the wind. Day 2. Fortifying your position. You've survived the first 24 hours. Now it's time to fortify your position and prepare for the long haul. If you're in a makeshift shelter, reinforce it. Make it more windproof and waterproof. If you're with others, delegate tasks. Someone gathers firewood. Someone else purifies water. Teamwork is essential. This is also the time to reassess your resources. How much food and water do you have left? Are there any additional supplies you can scavenge or improvise? Remember, necessity is the mother of invention. Get creative. Use what you have to your advantage. Most importantly, stay informed. If there's a working radio or if you have cell service, try to get updates on the situation. Knowledge is power. The more you know about what's happening, the better you can plan your next move. Day 3. Planning for the long haul. By day 3, the initial shock has worn off. The reality of the situation sets in. This is when long-term planning becomes crucial. If you're in an area severely affected by the disaster, you need to decide, stay or go. If rescue is a possibility, stay put. Make yourself visible. Signal for help. If rescue is unlikely or if your current location is unsustainable, you'll need to consider moving to a safer location. But don't go it alone. There's strength in numbers. If possible, team up with others in your situation. This is also the time to start thinking about sustainable practices. Can you create a system for collecting rainwater? Are there edible plants in the area? Can you build a more permanent shelter? Remember, survival is not just about the here and now, it's about adapting and thriving in the face of adversity. Mental fortitude, the unsung hero of survival. We often focus on the physical aspects of survival: fire, shelter, water. But what about the mental aspect? How do you stay positive, motivated, and hopeful when everything around you seems bleak? The answer is resilience. It's the ability to bounce back from adversity, to find strength in the face of fear. This inner strength is just as important as any survival skill. It's what keeps you going when you want to give up. It's what helps you find solutions when problems seem insurmountable. So, how do you cultivate resilience? By focusing on the positive, by celebrating small victories, by holding on to hope. Remember, your mind is your most powerful tool. You can choose to let fear control you, or you can choose to rise above it. You can choose to see the darkness, or you can choose to seek the light. The choice is yours. Beyond 72 hours, a new reality. The first 72 hours are crucial, but they are only the beginning. What happens next? How do you rebuild your life after a disaster? The answer is one step at a time. Don't try to tackle everything at once. Focus on the immediate needs, then gradually expand your horizons. Remember, the world after a disaster is a different world. It's a world where the familiar is gone, where rules no longer apply. It's a world where you have to be adaptable, resourceful, and resilient. But it's also a world where you can rediscover the strength within yourself, the importance of community, and the true meaning of resilience. It's a world where you can emerge from the ashes, stronger and more capable than you ever thought possible. Your survival instinct, a call to action. The will to survive is deeply ingrained in all of us. It's a primal instinct, a force that can push us beyond our perceived limits. But it's more than just instinct. It's a choice to fight for every breath, every step, every moment. The first 72 hours of a crisis are not about luck. They're about preparation, about making smart decisions under pressure, about never giving up hope. They're about tapping into that primal instinct, that inner strength that lies dormant within us all. So, the next time you find yourself facing the unimaginable, remember this: you are stronger than you think, you are more capable than you realize, and you have the power to survive.